Hi everyone, welcome back to the Dr. Sia channel. In the video here today, I want to talk about 3 ways that people who have a disorganized attachment are affected by the Black Lives Matter movement that goes on around the world today. Let's get started. Let's get started. All right, so what are the 3 ways that people who have a disorganized attachment are affected by the Black Lives Matter movement that goes on around the world today? Now, firstly, of course, what would happen is, I think, that most people should get involved in the Black Lives Matter movement in one way or another. Now, there are some people whose involvement in it might be more harmful to the cause than it is helpful to the cause. More often than not, those people you're going to find are disorganized attachment. So they have a disorganized attachment. So when we look at these 3 ways that the Black Lives Matter movements affect people with disorganized attachment, we're going to find that mostly those ways are either harmful to the person or harmful to the cause. And I'll explain why that is the case. Because when the person who has a disorganized attachment experiences severe distress or severe stress in any way, shape, or form, what they tend to do is to go towards abuse. They tend to either go towards a place where they get abused, where they get hurt, or they go towards a place where other people get abused and hurt. They're not doing this intentionally, so this video is not about blame. It's just simply understanding that this is a person who comes from a severe history of severe abuse, severe trauma, severe disorganization, and severe fragility, such that when additional stresses occur for the person, they just don't cope well with it and accidentally, if you will, cause more harm either to themselves or to other people. So the first way that people who have a disorganized attachment tend to react, or one of the ways that they tend to react about the Black Lives Matter movement, is that they'll quickly take extreme sides. More often than not, their mind can't really handle the complexity of what is going on, the length which has been going on, the hurt and the pain and the suffering that the Black people in America have suffered at the hands of their government becomes all too much for the person with disorganized attachment. So what they're going to do, one of the first ways, is that they're going to take an extreme position. So if they take an extreme position, for example, and engage in the Black Lives Matter movement, you might find that this is, for example, a disorganized person who lives, say, I don't know, in Poland, and all of a sudden that person has, for no obvious reason, goes and attacks their neighbor. Their neighbor is not even remotely in any way involved in the Black Lives Matter movement, but there might, for example, the disorganized person just try to start something, try to do something. They watch the news, they see that there's protest and rioting going on. The really intense part of them that says, yeah, I have to get intensely involved with this, engages or agrees with the rioting bit and goes, all right, I'm going to go out and cause a fuss. I'm going to go out and cause some hurt and pain. Again, this is not something that they intentionally do, but this is just some of the things that happen. And if you look around in the news today, not just American news, but global news, you'll see how many people there are around the world who are just engaging in these random acts of violence that are meant to be helpful to the cause, but if you think about it, actually have nothing to do with the cause. They're actually not even involved in any organization whatsoever. It's just automatically some part of them either seeks abuse or gives abuse. The second way that people who have a disorganized attachment are going to react is that they're going to be severely overwhelmed. That severe overwhelm, more often than not, is going to result in some form of self-sabotage or self-harm. So they can't really deal with the intensity of the problems that are going on, so they're going to need to deal with their emotions in another way. And how they often deal with that is a sense of self-sabotage, self-harm, self-punishment, or severe self-criticism. So they're going to go out to deal with that hurt and the pain to make it something more manageable. They're going to go out and cause themselves some hurt. These are the people who you hear around the world who are self-harming to deal with the Black Lives Matter movement. They are punishing themselves to deal with the Black Lives Matter movement. They might self-sabotage, for example, quit their job, end up on the streets, just to deal with the emotional pain and the hurt of the trauma that's going on in the world here today, and how that then reflects their own trauma. So that's the second way that they deal with the Black Lives Matter movement. The third way that they might deal with the Black Lives Matter movement is that they might do something we call severe splitting. And severe splitting in this sense is that they make one side or the other all good or all bad. Some people will say that anything and everything that goes on today, as long as you just put hashtag Black Lives Matter movement ahead of it, then yep, it goes. It doesn't really matter to them what is there. They must take an extreme split position. And I'm talking about things that the people who are in the Black Lives Matter movement say, hey, we don't agree with this. Stop doing that. What's that about? That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. They might take that extreme position that that's correct. Or sometimes what also happens is they might take the extreme opposite position to the Black Lives Matter movement. These are the people who you're going to find suddenly become extremely racist, extremely anti the Black Lives Matter movement, extremely against anything that has to do with the freedom that the people in the Black Lives Matter movement are seeking, with the equality and the justice that the people in the Black Lives Matter are seeking. All of a sudden, they just turn to making the entire Black Lives Matter movement a demonic, really bad thing that's going on. Why that is because they can't really sit from a position where they contain their feelings. So the only way that they can deal with that is that they sort of get some form of immediate discharge, as we call it, a discharge of feelings, so that they can just act out in some way. And these people, the people who are disorganizedly attached, are likely to act out either in favor of the Black Lives Matter movement or in extreme disfavor. Now, if they have some racism in their background as well, coupled with that, well then, that becomes a lot of those people who you see are out there trying to hurt the people who are engaging in the Black Lives Matter movement. These people are mostly just out there doing peaceful protest, but no, now on top of that, now they got to deal with some people who are trying to hurt them for them trying to just get some sense of equality and justice and being able to walk on the streets without being murdered by police officers, that kind of thing. So these are three ways that people who are disorganized attachment, people who have disorganized attachment, are affected by the Black Lives Matter movement. These are just three ways. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about if there are any other ways that people who have a disorganized attachment might be affected by it. And again, I'm not looking for judgment here. I'm just trying to explain some of the ways that people are affected. People who have a disorganized attachment are, all in all, just as good in mind and just in kind as in their heart as everyone else. It's just that when we have extreme stressors, there are some ways that some people are affected, and people are affected in different ways. And when people are abused a lot and traumatized a lot in their childhoods, the way that they tend to act is really harmful towards themselves and other people. And that is what we call the cycle of abuse and the cycle of trauma that keeps going. So it's a very unfortunate situation, but I'm not trying to blame anybody. I just want to clarify that. But I am curious about your thoughts. Please do let me know what you think. Please do share this video with your friends. Subscribe, press that bell button. Also, make sure you're going to Insta and check out my @DrSia channel there, where I post a lot about disorganized attachment if that's what you're interested in. And yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.